July 29th, 1898, 4:30 p.m. The seals returned today for a short time before diving and rolling back into the sea as they headed for the beach. Noah's friend remained behind, however. I asked our friend Danny, "Do seals play with cats in Ireland, Danny?" "Well, not that I've seen. Maybe she's a Selkie, one of the seal people." This is what Auntie Kate told me. "It seems my great-great-grandpa was coming home late one night after a long day fishing. He'd just pulled his boat up on the beach behind a pile of rocks when he heard 'em. He crawled up over the rocks and saw a big group of seals squirming their way onto the beach, except they weren't seals at all, 'cause one by one their black skins split clear down the back and out stepped a man or a woman. The men were big and well-muscled, and the women were the most beautiful creatures he'd ever seen, with long black hair hanging down their bare backs. The moon was full that night, and he could see everything, nearly plain as day. As each Selkie left its skin, it ran and joined the others, laughing and dancing in the sand. He saw one step out of her sealskin that took his breath away. Her skin was the color of moonlight, and her eyes were as dark as the night sea. As soon as she danced off with the rest of the Selkies, Grandpa dashed over to the empty skin and snatched it. He hid it in a sack in the bottom of his boat, beneath his fishing net. Then he went back and peeked over the rocks at the Selkies. He stayed there all night, watching and waiting. Just before dawn, when the air grew stiff and cold, the Selkies made their way back to the sea's edge to find their skins. They slipped back into their sealskins and launched themselves into the tide, looking for all the world like an ordinary bunch of seals, all except for one. She searched and searched, racing wild-like around the beach as her friends quietly departed. When they'd all left and she stood there alone, trembling with fright, Grandpa walked from behind the rocks with his coat in his hand. "Don't be afraid," he said. "I'll take care of you now." She stared at him with those shiny black eyes, the sun just beginning to lighten the sky. He saw her heave a great sigh, and her white shoulders lower. She knew what had happened, and like all Selkies, she resigned herself to her fate. Grandpa placed his coat over her bare skin and led her to his house.